Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Tackle Shop Live. Hey, hey. Yeah, we had guys checking in early today. Jeff Swartz, how you doing? CJ810, what's happening, brother? James Hook, Scott Lockoff, as always, brother. Larry Shope, yeah, we're going to teach you something about ChatterBait. You better believe it, pal. Yeah, Robert Donahue, what's happening, man? Hey, Mark, what is up? Mike Hayer's in the house. Kevin Carpenter, how you doing, brother? Good to see you guys. Yeah, we got a good show for you guys tonight. Chris Benninger, how you doing, Chris? Joseph Cascarino, what's happening, Joe? Jason Stutzman, Michael Bradley, what's up with you, brother? Man, we got a great crew of guys here. Danny Pouts, Ray Cruz, Michael Duarte. Hey, what's up, man? Greggy Plank. You know just what I feel. Please Tanner Weimer, what's up, man? Antonio Go-Go Gomez. How you doing, Go-Go? Daniel T's here. Scott Nemechek. Oh, hey, Scott. Afco County, you better believe it, baby. And we're going to be talking about some of this tonight, too, Scott. That's right, brother. Kevin Kesey's in the house. Man, we got a great show for you guys tonight. Georgia's here somewhere. Jeff Santangelo. I got you, Jeff. What is going on? Man, we got a great show. Tonight we are doing talking about ChatterBaits, and we're going to go and talk about not just ChatterBait, but we're going to go deep into ChatterBait, and we're going to really break it down for you guys and show you what we do and the baits. We use the full range of baits. We're going to talk about all the range of baits that we use with ChatterBait and the trailers and how it makes a difference for different situations. So we're going to get deep into that tonight. Freddie Mackey is here. Tony Kozar. Man, we got a full house tonight. Jimmy Arnold, what do you say, Jimmy? Galen Heathcote, Richie Martinelli. Yeah. Man, we got a great bunch of guys. But first of all, I want to make sure everybody knows, guess what? The sign up for the SFT SummerSlam is going on right now. We've been busy since Friday last week signing people up. We're getting a great turnout. Bunch of people signing up for this thing. We're limited to 100 boats. We're squeak it a little bit, but make sure you guys get in as soon as you can. Don't want to miss anybody out on this. For all you guys who don't know and are checking in here for the first time, SFT SummerSlam is a tournament we've been running for many years, and it is a tournament where everybody wins. And by that, I mean the entry fee is a purchase of Shimano, G Loomis, Jackal, and Power Pro, who are our sponsors. If you buy $250 mixed match, however you want to do it, in those manufacturers per boat, that means 2 guys per boat for the tournament. You guys can split it up however you want. You can, and that's your entry fee. What's cool about that is if you go down there and you just bomb, like a lot of them did today on Santee Cooper, there was a lot of bombs going on. If you just go down there and bomb, guess what? You win, right, Nick?
That's right. You win no matter what.
Absolutely. You win the $250 worth of tackle that you purchased. That's yours to keep. And that is your entry fee. So that is that's what's really cool about this tournament. It's a tournament we use to get new people into tournament fishing. We want guys who are on the fence about tournament fishing. We want you to come in. We want you to win, and we want you guys to feel like it's a big deal for you, and have fun at it, and not have to worry about losing $250 in entry fees. So there you have it. that is going on full swing. You can go on to the Susquehanna Fish and Tackle website. There's a banner up and running. You can check it out. Click on that. Go read about it. Go look at all the details. Download an application. Purchase your tackle. Send the application into us completed, and you will be entered into the tournament for the great, awesome, biggest tournament of the year down there on the Chesapeake Bay Susquehanna Fish and Tackle SummerSlam tournament. So make sure you guys take advantage of that big time. Mike Barr's here. Robert Bretz is here. Johnny Kopp, what's happening? Tony Kozar, if you need a partner or something like that, give us your name, send it in, say, listen, I'm a boater. I'm looking for a rider, or I'm a rider looking for a boater. Cause we get different guys asking that. So we can match that up, send that into us, and we can definitely help you with that. Andre, it's 100 boat cutoff. We always cheat a little bit, but we're going to fill it no matter what. It gets filled. It gets filled right away. So make sure you guys, get involved there and get in that, get signed up as soon as possible. You don't want to be missing out on this. Tammy Geeman, Cayuga Tammy is in the house. Nice to see you on Saturday. As always, making the trek down this way. We really appreciate it. Hope the new boat was working out for you guys and you broke it in right and caught a bunch of big fish. That'd be awesome to know that, man. That for sure. Big old skeeter like that thing ought to be broken in right. Sure, you guys did a great job at it. For all you guys that are new here at Tackle Shop Live, my name is Mike Acord. This is George Acord, and behind the camera is cameraman Nick.
How's it going, everybody?
And we are here to give you guys a rundown on what we do here at the Tackle Shop and the fishing, and I always learn a technique. But the first thing that we always do is, this is a tackle shop, so we do a little segment we call Tackle Talk. Oh, hey, Jerry Otto, boat is great. I'm glad, buddy. I knew it would be. It's a skeeter. It's a skeeter, and it's a damn nice looking skeeter at that, bro. So glad it's working out well for you. This is our Tackle Talk section, and we always bust out some new stuff that came into the shop, stuff that you should know about that we haven't talked about in a while. Things that are happening and things that people are really picking up. We'll introduce it again, but there's always something new in there. Well, we got new tonight, George. What's going on?
Well, first of all, I'd like to have some original music recorded to introduce this segment.
Original.
Perhaps we could hire a, 3-piece band, or
you want to sing something?
Recording studio.
Maybe you can sing something.
Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that. But, I'm thinking, sit down, put it together, little 2-minute introduction, ballad, somewhere between blues and country, So let's get to work on that.
That's going to happen right away.
Well, you never know.
You know what? The good one tonight would have been George's Pick Is In. Or the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and hey, listen. This show's going to go pretty quick tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The draft is tonight, and there's some people that really want to see the draft. So we are going to I'm not going to rush through it, but we're going to cut it a little shorter than we normally do.
I'm having my own draft tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A Miller Lite.
No.
That's my draft.
No, that's not a draft.
My draft happened the other day.
Yeah, Mike don't care because he got his wish already.
Got my wish. You dang right. A-Raj is in the house in New York. That's right. We got A-Raj, and I am so happy. I don't even care what goes on in this draft now. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he'll fix everything.
We'll see, bro. He won't make it a little interesting.
Yeah.
Huh? What? I'll go with better record.
You might want to really do some research before you
Why?
Write a check that your freaking ass can't cash.
Hey, you guys are going to fall on your face this year. You really are. You had your run at it. You couldn't. Hey, you couldn't seal the deal. Can't make it happen. You
Okay.
couldn't seal a deal. You're on a downward swing. I'll take any bet you want to throw out there. Yeah.
Probably not wise.
We'll see. We'll see who's in the Super Bowl at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean,
We're going all the way, baby.
We can frame this any way you want.
We're going all the way.
I mean, we can set an over/under on wins. I mean, we could do, a Super Bowl.
Well,
appearance.
I'll tell you what. You can make a bet any way you want, but I think that it should be on a record.
Okay.
On a record for the year.
You know what I like to call.
Or how about
what I like to call these kind
who's
of
going the
bets?
deepest in the playoffs? Who goes the deepest in the playoffs?
Okay. You kind of.
You're not going to the Super Bowl again. It's not happening for you.
You sort of.
You guys sucked. You had your opportunity. You choked. It's over.
You should probably.
Yeah.
Make it to the playoffs first before you see who can go out deep.
Well, you should too.
I mean, you guys, the Jets were in the playoffs. What, back in like 2002?
Yeah, but we got A-Rod now.
All right.
A-Rod is in the house.
Let's move on to something more important, like tackle talk.
I'm waiting. I'm sitting here waiting.
No, you were flapping your lips there a little bit.
That's right. we got money in the house now.
All right.
Let's go.
So, with the first pick of the 2023 tackle draft, I'm going to select an oldie but a goodie. Came out maybe a year or so ago, but it's been hot, real hot, and I wanted to re-emphasize it. And it is the Spro Poppin' Frog in the 70 size.
You see a lot of people throwing that on the TV.
Henceforth,
yeah,
it's been hot.
Yeah.
So the little guy here is the standard 60 size, which kind of looks small compared to the 70. There's a front on. There's a profile. And you can really tell the hook size, from a 4.0 to a 5.0. I think it's a 5.0. Let's see. It's 3/4 of an ounce. The Poppin' 70's 3/4 of an ounce.
Well, you can bomb that thing. You know it.
Oh, you can send it down range.
Yeah.
And
I know some guys that would like that feature.
It does not give me the hook size, but let's see if it does on the half ounce. The 60 is the half ounce, and
no hook size.
No, but I'm going to tell you,
it's at least a 5.0
from my Eagle Hawkeye point of view. 4.0, 5.0.
Yeah. Good hook in those things too.
Obviously, longer legs, which most of us are going to trim, but the 70 Poppin' Frog has got hot. It's been a mover and a shaker here at sfttackle.com. It's been making the news in all the pro tours this spring so far. And I thought, you know what? Let's refresh. Let's hit refresh on that. All right. And by the way, that color is called natural red, and not for nothing. I feel as though that's in the top 3 most important colors that there are. The other being
very good,
midnight and albino, or black and white.
I was listening to Dean Roadhouse talking about that color, and he was all about shaded areas like lily pads. Really liked it in lily pads. The shadow that it casts.
You know what I like it in is really clear water. When that grass filters that water into, like I like to call it, the aquarium. That's when that bad boy shines. Mm-hmm. Now, in that late summer, crystal clear, sparse grass situation, you're probably going to want to downsize to the 60. But depending on where you're at, a 70 may play.
Nice thing about a 70 in that situation would be the distance you can cast it.
Yeah, you can slam it
You'd,
down
you'd
range.
be able to really get it away from the boat when pressured fish and clear water.
Clear water.
Yeah, it'll help you out a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Wanted to let everybody know that.
Thank you, Daniel T, for letting us know that has a 5.0 in it. We thought it did. Eagle Eye George eagle-eyed it up.
So we wanted to let you know Yama Tanuki is back in stock. So this first batch of Yama Tanuki rolled out of here pretty quick.
Sold out instantly.
The second batch is in. The back orders have been filled, and we have plenty of those left. And don't forget now, for those of you who aren't familiar with this is Yamamoto's version of what's being called high-density plastic, heavy, compact baits. And there's multiple Japanese brands, not that Yamamoto's a Japanese brand, but they sell big time in Japan, and they build a lot of baits for that market. But so, I mean, you can consider them heavily influenced by that market, but the pure Japanese companies are, G-Crack, Depths, so on and so forth. Everybody's rolling this kind of stuff into this market now. It's becoming you can flip it. I mean, this thing's heavy. It's 5/8 of an ounce. It's like a little slug of Senko, like heavy, dense. It's like fishing with the matter that comes out of a black hole. Yama Tanuki.
Yeah.
So back in stock, boys.
Yeah, man. Get them while they're hot. Steve Hauer, hello from Honduras. Well, hello to you, my friend. Hope you're having a good time down there.
Honduras. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Probably smoking a cigar right now, drinking a mojito.
A mojito?
Or a Mai Tai.
I don't know.
Or a Miller Lite. One of those top three.
Not familiar with the Honduras culture down there. Can't really help you with that.
Well.
Hello, Mike Reinhold.
All right. Next up on the Tackle Talk segment is another bait that we introduced a little while ago that's also been popping. And it's from Megabass. And it's called the Rock Hog.
Rock Hog.
Good luck opening it up. Rock Hog is basically a 3-inch twin tail grub / creature bait hybrid. Jig head fished, jig trailer fished, little finesse Texas rig fished, big Ned rig type bait. I mean, very, very versatile, which is probably why it's been scooting up in demand. So Rock Hogs are in stock, and that's a little bit about the Rock Hog. Also from Megabass, the Griffin MRX.
That's a sweet little bait.
There was a time when these were readily available in the U.S. They've been somewhat scarce, but this month we have a run of about 7 or 8 colors. This color here is called GG Moss Gin. Nice little shiny bait fish color. Check this one out, Nick. You know I like my red crankbaits. Fire Crawl. It's got that crackle finish on it. It's pretty cool. Nice little gill pattern here called Kasim Tiger. Could be a perch too. Little perch, little gilly perch. Check them out, sfttackle.com. I want to say $15.99 price point. Very cool. I'm not sure the future availability of them, but we got them. We got them in stock now. And I was going to show you the respect baits that came in for this month, but they're gone. I mean, for this week, but they're gone. So we'll talk about them another time. We have more coming in the next couple weeks. So we got a couple hotties coming in the next couple weeks. Start like saving your money, cutting your neighbor's yard, whatever, stashing some cash away, because the next batch is going to be mass pandemonium. And boys, the last thing I want to offer up on Tackle Talk on Tackle Shop Live. Try to say that 3 times. Topwater bite has been hot all over.
Oh yeah.
And
Dynamite.
This guy has been hot. And we talk about this guy a lot. The Evergreen Shower Blow. This is 3 of the 4 sizes that are available. The 77.7. That's a little guy. The 105 and the 125.
Yeah.
Tremendous walking bait. Tremendous fish catching bait.
Very easy to walk.
Casts really well.
And I like that new size, that new little size. That's been really super hot on the Susquehanna River.
77.7.
That thing's been real dynamite here.
Black bone.
And the 105 has been good on the river.
Black bone. Down on the last elite. Help me out, boys. Murray. The 125 in chrome. They was a hit.
Yeah.
That bad boy was getting it done on that herring lake. Now, a lot of people are probably saying, which one does George throw the most? I mean, I get that. It's a question I get asked a lot.
Oh, shoot.
I'm straight up on the 105 most of the time. And when I get around some big fish, I love fishing this bait. Well, I love fishing walking baits over top of grass on a high tide. And I like to level up to the 125. And my associate here has caught many a big kicker on tidal water, pre-spawn, spawn, particularly spawn and post-spawn, walking this thing on a high tide. Now, it can be a little frustrating with the chopped grass and the wind-blown, grass and what have you. But, your goal is to pick your spot, put that cast in there, and get like 2 or 3 or 4 quality twitches before you get mossed up. So in that situation, casting accuracy is really good.
Yeah.
And I like to throw it on 50-pound braid, although I don't have a problem with a heavier mono, like a 14 to a 17 mono. So it's not like anti-mono here. This bait I like on a braid. As with most walking baits, you really get a lot of response with the littlest twitch. And a little tip for you: in the wind, when you get the belly in your line and it ruins your walk with your rod tip up like this. All the line comes off the water, and you get that nice straight line. And it only takes a few casts to really feel the control that you have there. So that's your shower blow SB series.
And
they changed the name to SB
here in the Northeast, or here in I would say Pennsylvania and south a little bit. We have crazy weather happening. It's 80 degrees one week. It's 30 degrees, and we had a frost I think a week ago again, and then it warms back up, and it's all over the place. So you have a lot of post-spawn fish around, and those post-spawn fish are just smoking topwaters right now. Really, really good topwater fishing. And you know, when you get those hot and warm days, those little bugs start coming out, and trust me, they're dialing in on them things. So for sure.
I think, let me check my note list here. Check.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Matt, I didn't throw the Hellraiser this year yet, but you know, last year we were kind of disappointed because it went from like the beginning of fall right into winter, and we just topwater bite in this past fall was for us was non-existent. It just didn't do well with topwater bite. But I did throw it last year, and the first time I threw it, I mean, absolutely the first cast I threw it, I caught a 3-pounder, a 3-pounder with it on the very first cast. So I was really excited about it. And then literally like 2 weeks later, it was, you know, our water temperature went down in the 40s. It was amazing how the fall just went right into winter. I never really got a chance to really throw it hard. And I think the Hellraiser is going to be more of, you know, just a little bit later in the season. I think you're going to see that thing really working well for us. Now down south where you got the shad spawn and all that, it's game on down there. It's, you know, where you're dealing with that shad spawn, it's game on down there. But it's one of the most unique topwater baits I've ever thrown ever. Very cool bait. All right, now so that takes care of tackle talk. I hope everybody enjoyed that. All those baits are available for you online at sfttackle.com. You can go there, check them out, and read about them, see what it's all about. And I think the Griffin is the only one that's not online.
No, it's on there.
Is there?
Yep.
Okay, so the Griffin is on there, so you can go there and look at the colors. Colors on that Griffin bait is awesome. That's got a deeper lip on it. It dives pretty good. You're going to get 5-6 feet out of that thing, and it's a little bit bigger body, but it's still nice and compact. Was a really popular bait when we had it, then it went away, and now it's back. So guys who are looking for it, there it is. You can check it out online at sfttackle.com. All right, we're going to move right into some tournament talk because we again, the tournaments are rolling.
They are.
And there was a bunch of stuff going on the last couple of days, and today started the first day of the Elite Series tournament. So let's talk a little tournament talk. Yeah.
You know what you need? A production assistant. You got any money in the budget for that?
I think I'm doing a fine job.
Oh, we didn't say you didn't.
we need a production assistant, like cameraman Nick.
Hey, we roll pretty good.
Yeah. If we get another one of the guys sitting next to Nick over there, we could have a big old crew here. But then it wouldn't be as fun. We don't have as many fun moments like this one. That's what I think of the Eagles. Just saying.
All right. Have you ever lost $100,000 in a tournament?
No, I never fished for $100,000.
Well, I mean, originally you won the national tour tournament, and you were going to be awarded $100,000. And then it was taken away from you.
Never had that happen.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Doesn't sound good.
That's not cool.
It's not good.
That's not cool. But that happened to Baron Adams.
Baron Adams?
Yeah, he's a hot stick on the Fat Cat Newton tour.
Oh.
The national NFPL.
NFPL.
Yep.
Yeah.
What
happened? Failed the lie detector.
No, there was no lie detector necessary.
Really? Why?
No. Forgot to buy a fishing license.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Actually.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, and I can see this happening because this happened to me 2 years ago.
Why would they take the money away?
Well, he broke the law. He fished without a fishing license. If you break any laws, you're DQ'd.
Oh.
But listen.
Dang.
I can.
Oh,
here-
that
here's
sucks.
Here's how it went down. As I understand, he bought his license online and inadvertently never completed the sale and assumed it was done.
Oh, you're shit.
So the intent was the intent was there, but now, as soon as I heard this, and
That's
I
a gray
started,
area.
not really. Sir, may I see your fishing license? Says the warden.
Yeah, you bring up the incomplete thing.
That's
Like-
hilarious because if that
like,
would have
look.
been Mike, he'd have been like, guys, this is a gray area.
Yeah, it's a gray. It's a little gray area
Well,
for
you
me.
know, you were with me on Champlain.
Yeah,
I bought my license
yeah. After
But
the
I
guy
bought
caught
it-
you.
for the future
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's
because
right.
the website was confusing,
Yeah, very confusing.
and I bought it for like
The same time, but the year
like,
later.
No, like 3 months later.
I thought it was a year later.
I bought it. It was going to be good in July or something, and I was there in June.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "Yeah, that's not a valid license. I paid for it, but I made a stupid mistake."
Okay,
This
but
guy-
did he fine you?
You know what? He did not.
He did not
he
fine
sat-
you,
He sat there.
and therefore,
Well,
it's a gray area.
Gray area.
It's a gray area.
the Texas Parks and Wildlife officers didn't fine him either. The tournament league DQ'd him because he
I'm
broke
just
the
saying
rule.
it's a little gray area. I went with the law enforcement officer on that one.
Now, what's interesting
Intent was there.
is
Wonder what the anglers second place guy would say. No, that's he's DQ'd, but I bet the other guys would be like, well, I could see that happening.
second place guy got $100,000.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Everybody,
You
everybody moved up then, right?
Yeah.
The whole field. So
Yeah. So what's interesting is
God, that sucks so
when
bad.
you fish a BASS event and you register,
They check your license.
you have to have your license in your hand.
Yeah.
And as you check in, you hand them your fishing license.
So I blame Fat Cat Newton. Fat Cat, get your shit together, bro.
Well, you know what? This
I'm
is a
pretty
learning
sure.
lesson.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't run the National Fishing Professional Fishing League.
No, he's the face.
He's
the
the
guy.
face
He's
of
the
the
guy I know.
franchise.
He's the guy I know.
But you know what? This is a learning lesson because that guy. Now that's hardcore. To lose
100K.
100K, that's
God.
like ridiculous. But remember, was it last year? Swindell got DQ'd at the flats at the Bass Open because he didn't have the right insurance or something like that.
It was his
Trey.
nephew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, to lose 100K,
Yeah.
that's next level.
Oh.
I remember Ish telling
Man.
me one time that he was boat 1 or 2 in an elite tournament,
Yeah, I like that, Sean.
and he was randomly asked to prove boat insurance because they do a random thing. They're like, "Hey, Nick, I need to see your insurance." It's just a random pick. Randomizer says pick him, and he always keeps his insurance in a big waterproof Ziploc bag taped to the inside of his deck lid. And he had just got his new paperwork and it was in his truck. To make matters worse, he boated to the tournament from his lakeside house that he had rented, which was completely on the other side of the lake. It was like a 30-minute boat ride over in the morning.
Did they let him go over and get it and then come back?
Yeah, but he didn't go out boat 1. He had to
oh.
drive over to the house, get the insurance, come back, get the insurance check, go through boat check, and then take off.
And get more gas.
So,
Get more gas, right?
as tournament anglers, Mike and I, every spring, I would be on Mike like, I need copies of my insurance.
Yep.
Now we always carried stupid liability because of our guide licenses.
Yeah.
But I think most of our tournaments required
300,000.
Yeah, some of them were 100,000 liability, but most were 300.
We had $500,000.
And every when you're starting to get that February and you're starting to be like tournament season sneaking up, we'd get that paperwork together, put it in a Ziploc bag, put it in the boats,
We had
put the stickers on the boats,
we had-
which the garages weren't totally warm, so we'd heat them up with blow dryer to get them to stick good because garages were at like 50 degrees.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of crazy when you think how many fishing licenses these guys must have in the season.
Oh my God. Well, this is their fourth tournament. Most tours are on their fourth tournament. And guess what? Most of them, not most of them, but a lot of them are multiple state waters. Like, what was the one that they just had? That was straddling Texas and Louisiana. There's 2 licenses.
Yeah. It
can happen.
It easily can happen. Easily. I have had many times where I didn't complete something, a registration, or a lot of stuff with business. Like things that are monthly that you have to do monthly things. And I didn't complete it, and just out of the whim would check it. Before it was actually due. And a lot of times it has to do with the sales tax or whatever. We have to do these online things, and it pisses you off because you submit the form, right? Then you got to submit it again because then it brings up a verification. Then it's like a double tap, and you're rushing around. You hit it once, and then you're just kind of rushing.
Well, yeah, you just want to get it done,
and it's like the first submission is basically done. You just got to verify the submission. It's crazy. I can see it happening. Very easy. Very easy. I feel really bad for that guy. And I think whoever said that, second, Sean Neifert, second place should give him $5,000. They should. Or 10.
Good thing I'm not in second place.
10 grand. He should do it. I would do it. I would feel so.
Listen.
I would feel so bad because that guy kicked my ass.
Listen.
You know what I mean? Legit.
I think the BASS registration process is the way to go.
Everybody should copy it.
Bring out your license. When you walk up to
insurance too.
The girls at the table.
Show me your insurance.
And they say, "Hi, George. How you doing?" You hand them your paperwork.
Yep. Should be your insurance and your license. And that way, this can't happen. Because they don't want that to.
I feel pretty bad.
Those guys from that tournament circuit didn't want that to happen. They didn't want it to happen.
I
wonder how they found out he didn't get his license.
They asked him.
Oh, they did. They did ask.
Do you have a license? He's like, "Yeah." Well, can you show it to us? Yeah.
Do they always ask everybody every time?
Well, apparently this league does.
Oh.
So he showed him the license, and they said, "Yeah, that's not a license. That's an online form to get a license."
That sucks. But it sucks too. It's like people do cheat that deserve to be DQ'd.
Yeah.
And that's not one of them. And who knows what that does to his career? That's a game-changing moment when you win a tournament like that.
$100,000.
$100,000, man.
Tour level victory is the ultimate stepping stone for any pro's career. That first big win.
Yep.
And this is sickening. And if the NFPL or NPFL would have checked for license before the tournament during registration, this would have never happened. They would have said, "Whoa, big fella."
Yeah, terrible.
We're going to have to do something to you because you've been pre-fishing without a license.
Michael Bradley, I don't think they pay state income tax on winnings. You have to pay federal income tax, but you don't pay a state income tax. You pay a state income tax in your own state for your income that you make.
Well, you get W-2.
Yeah, you get W-2, but that has nothing to do with the state that you win it in.
No.
But you pay, on winnings, you pay a substantial amount.
Heavy duty.
That's why you have to set, these tournament guys set themselves up as a business, and then they don't get the 37% tax amount, or it might even be 40. They don't get that winnings tax. They get a business tax, and especially if they set it up as an S corporation, they get a 22 or a 27%, tax that they have to pay. But yeah, it's too bad about that guy, man. That's so sad.
It's freaking brutal.
Jeez.
Well, that was. I
I just don't want to go on anymore. I just want to shut the show down, go home, cry for the guy. I feel really bad.
Well,
George is all about
George's like, all right, well, they're just starting the thing right now. All right, let's keep moving here. If you want to see this, we got to keep moving.
My running back just walked up on the stage. I'm just saying, Pigeon! We need you. Oh, but anyways, so last week was the Lake Murray Elite, which turned out to be a fish catching
Beatdown.
smash festival. Must have been fun to be out there on that lake.
Man.
And Drew
Unbelievable.
Benton, it was interesting, Drew Benton's pattern. So, he's a big sight fisherman, right? I mean, he just sight fishes to the wind all the time. And he was sight fishing. He was flipping his fighting frog. It's the Rojas fighting frog, but they're going to have to rename it the Cook fighting frog. Or, I mean, the Benton fighting frog, because
Whacking him on it.
he's been putting some credentials behind that fighting frog. Last week he went with watermelon red, green pumpkin, like a 5/16 ounce tungsten, and he just flips it on that bed. A lot of guys sight fish with white, or something bright like that, so that they can see it, not so the fish can see it, so they can see it, and put it on the bed. But, he's got like freakish eyesight. He could probably spot a seagull at like 7 miles diving on a shed.
Yeah, we know a guy like that.
We do. One of our buddies that we striper fish with, we don't even need binoculars. But anyways,
It's amazing.
so he was sight fishing, right? But guess what? That's not going to hold up for 4 days when you're in the final wave of spawning fish. And what was interesting? And something I feel we can learn from, the area of the lake that he was fishing in that had these bedding fish, and he said they were the fastest process from stage to bed to leave of any lake he's ever been on. Well, let me tell you something, bro. Try Lake Anna on for size, because the whole freaking thing's 12 hours. But anyways, he said that the area of the lake and I found this very interesting, where he was at was 70 degrees, and every place else on the lake was like up to the mid 70s. And he feels that's why that area of the lake still had a wave of spawning fish. Now, we're not the best spawn guys here, because where we live, you really can't see anything. So we're not really totally boned up on spawning. But listen, the moon, you always think of that full moon. That's not what we had last week. We were going into the crescent, the first crescent, the first whatever they call that, So I found that interesting. I found the 70 degrees interesting. I found the fact that he had numerous fish moving up daily. But what I really find interesting is he couldn't make the shad spawn work. And not everybody could. A lot of people struggled with that blueback herring spawn.
Well, the sediment that people were saying was that the shad spawn was very early. It was in its early stages.
Right.
And
you don't mean early in the day. You mean at the very, very beginning of the blueback herring spawn.
The blueback herring spawn. And
you're 100%
and
right.
they said that if you guys want to go fishing in 3 weeks, to be down there in 3 weeks, because it'll be
on
100% blueback herring bite, big time, 100%. It'll be like unbelievable fishing.
Yeah.
One of the things that I thought was really interesting is I always thought Lake Murray, when I think of Lake Murray, I think of the old time Bassmaster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But never did I know how good this lake is now. It's like, is it kept secret?
I always thought it was a tough fishery.
Back
for some
then, there
reason,
wasn't bluebacks.
Okay.
I always thought it was a really super tough fishery.
But that was incredible.
Yes.
The weigh-ins.
Yes. Amazing fish.
Well, it's lakes like Murray that created the wake bait on spawning fish. We talked about the Spro Zero minnow, the big 130 millimeter.
Yeah.
We talked about the Rapala.
Yeah.
BX minnow, waking minnow.
Mm-hmm.
That came from places like Lake Murray and Lake Hartwell on spawning fish in clear water in pockets. And, the guys that came up with this all those years ago were taking long A bombers, heating up the lips, bending them down, taking cotton cordell, red fin minnows, heating up the lips, bending them down, and creating wake baits out of them. And what the wake bait does is it causes that spawning fish to attack. And a lot of times you'll catch them on the wake bait, but if you don't, now you know where they live, and you know how big they are, and you can target them with a casting presentation.
Yeah.
So, like Murray has a lot of facets to it, but now it's blueback herring. And what was interesting was on day 3, Drew Benton ran out of spawners, and a little bit on day 2. And he started cranking shade lines on riprap for bass that were cruising looking for shad. And what was cool about that was it really highlighted the shade. If you looked at Hunter Shyrock.
Fletcher Hunter.
Right.
He was throwing the topwater in the shade.
The 110 plopper.
No.
Our Chapo. 105 Chapo.
Yeah.
In the shade.
And I told you the difference. That's a different bait than the plopper.
Right. Sounds different.
Totally different.
So, that shade line was the deal. Now, Benton was catching his fish on that shade line on a shad-colored 1.5 KVD crankbait. That was like kind of see-through with a little back color on it.
Yeah.
So, very interesting. Congratulations, Drew Benton.
Yeah.
That's back-to-back years. Last year, he won sight fishing on...
yeah, I think he weighed a big bag in today, too.
Yeah, he did.
He weighed a big bag in today.
Yeah, he weighed in 16-something today.
Yeah.
Oh, he did? I thought he weighed 19.
Well, it's 16 pounds get you. This was a tough tournament.
Yeah. 16 probably puts him like 30th place or something.
Put you probably farther down than that.
You think?
Yeah. It's like there's 15 bags over 20. Then there's a bunch of 19s, 18s, 17s. Greg had 11, and he's in 56th, I believe. So it's like ding, 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 ding. So they all have good starting points. You know what I mean? Good starting points.
Unbelievable tournament. Totally different than last year.
Santee Cooper, Elite started today, right?
How about that footage of Brandon Palaniuk on his hummingbird? I mean, that was the greatest hummingbird footage. They're forward facing.
That was killer.
They brought it up on a TV, man, and he'd bring these swim baits into these brush piles, and then you'd see it come out the other side of the brush pile, and you'd see this big giant thing. And then he was saying, these are big fish. These are 6 to 7 pounds. Look at the tail moving. You see the tail moving. It's crazy, man. Crazy footage.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because when he weighed in, he only weighed in 4.
Yeah.
And he said, tomorrow I'm either going to bring in 30 or nothing.
Yeah. No, they're all big fish. The ones that were coming out of that brush pile were amazing. And he brought 4 in for what?
21.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they were all big fish. He was catching. He drew these things out of there, and it was like, holy crap. Look at
he
this.
Was throwing that big mega bass jerk bait.
Yeah. That shiner. The big
Kanata.
The big Kamada shiner. Kanata shiner like that.
It's called the Kanata.
Yeah. And he weighted it down, and he made it I think he made it sinking. Actually, like it was sinking, like it stayed down. Like when he stopped it, it would actually fall a little bit. But what was cool was it showed him trimming it, the weights and stuff to make it do what it was doing. To get the bait to do exactly. Now I'm not kidding you, man. He caught some giants on that thing, but that swim bait showed him some mega giants that are on these brush piles.
Yeah,
He's
well,
right.
you know, the swim bait's playing a little bit
Yeah,
here.
yeah, they're catching him on it. He
Um,
might even catch him on that tomorrow. You know, they might just trigger on that
yeah.
tomorrow.
You know, there was a few nice glide bait fish caught today, and several really nice mag draft fish caught today.
Yeah.
Because there's a shad spawn going on here too. They got the shad spawn. They got brush piles, as Brandon Palaniuk showed us so well. They got all kinds of grass. The grass is as good as it's been in years.
Yeah.
Tons of eelgrass. So that's going to be fun to watch.
The footage that on this is just great. The drone footage is unbelievable. You really see what they're fishing. And then the addition of this graph footage, the coverage is spectacular.
There's no secrets anymore.
There really isn't. It's absolutely spectacular coverage.
But George, I wanted to ask you something about this shad spawn. Is it only a morning thing, or is it an all day thing?
Well, today they had overcast and they had haze, and that prolongs it. I mean,
normally it is a morning.
When it's at its peak, you know, it can go pretty late into the day, but typically high sun it's kind of like on the river here, we get like these minnow spawns that are like shad spawns. And a lot of times the fish don't even mess with them. I mean, they just don't. So it could be that real early stage where they're not really, I mean, I'm sure some fish are gorging on them, but
the lights go on, Nick, and they look over and they go, ugh, and then off they go. I thought it was funny.
It was hysterical. Hysterical. Well,
I thought it was funny.
What else we got going on tournament scene? We got the Bass Pro Tour heavy hitters.
They're catching nothing but 8, 9, and 10 pounders.
Caney Creek Lake.
Good God.
Tomorrow's knockout round.
Man, these are little bitty lakes that they're catching giants.
They're struggling. It's hard. It's hard fishing.
What are you talking about? They're catching 8 and 9 pounders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 5 of them in 4 days of fishing.
I don't know. They're weighing a shit ton of them in.
Like 5 of them. One guy caught 2 9s. So it's $25,000 in each of the qualifying groups for Lunker. And Dakota Ebear on day 1 caught a 9.5 of qualifying. And then on his second day of qualifying, he caught a 9.6 and beat his own record. And he got the $25,000. And then today, I want to say it was an 8-1 that got the $25,000.
Giant, man.
And then tomorrow they have knockout round, and then Saturday they have championship round, but they're moving over to Busey Break. Now that lake has got mega slaunches in it. That's where
mega slaunch.
That's where Randy Howe last year caught the 13.
I just feel like that Dakota is in the top of every tournament he fishes anymore.
He's hot.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, he's hot. He's real hot. Yep, he's got it going on.
Oh, it's like Wheeler. He's always right there too, man. Always in the mix. He slowed down a little bit this year. He didn't win everything. Last year, he won everything. I bet you he was real popular within amongst all these people. All right, man. There you go. Tournament talk. Now we're going to get in.
I love it.
Now we're going to get into what everybody's tuning in for, and that is we're going to be talking about the ChatterBait. I think if you go through our shows, if you go back through all of our shows in our history of the Tackle Shop Live, we probably talked about the ChatterBait 4 or 5 times about different things, but it's such an important bait, and it's just became, and it's always evolving. Things are always evolving with it. That we thought tonight we would do the same thing. We would discuss the bait, but then talk about some of the evolution, some of this different stuff that's being done with it, some of the things that we learned about fishing the bait since its inception several years ago, 10 years ago, or whatever it was. And It's a lot has changed. A lot of the baits changed. They came out with new baits. They got all kinds of different things, and we fished them all. And trailers changed. Everything is kind of so we thought we would talk about that part of it, the change, the new direction in which some of these guys are going, and the different baits that did come out. So what we got, George?
Well, there's obviously the original jackhammer, which has set the standard. No argument from anyone that this has not set the standard for ChatterBaits. I mean, this thing is absolutely
Hold the hook.
Absolutely, the most unique hunting action. The blade click, the colors, the trailer holders, the
hook itself,
just all of it.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the jackhammer to no end. But some of the trends that are coming out are with trailers, right? We've always talked about determining the difference between the swim bait trailer, with the boot foot. Something along this line here. That's your traditional boot foot trailer, and how important that is. We've always talked about the crawl style trailer. Something like this here, and how important that is. You're getting that kick on the swim. Many crawl style trailers. This is a kamikaze crawl from Big Bite Baits. Obviously, Rage Crawl. Obviously, Turbo Crawl from Z-Man. The Goat from Z. Just on and on and on and on and on.
There's tons of them.
So we talked about that, and there's definitely a preference shown many times from the fish on those two. Obviously, the most famous trailer is what we call the Fish, which has been made famous by the Zako, which was started by the Lake Fork shad. Here's a Big Bite kamikaze swim on. Many. Okay, so that's a player. But a trend that's been brewing, and you're hearing a lot more about it. We've actually talked about it on other baits, particularly the buzz bait, and that is the fluke style baits. And using those as a trailer, right? So the old Zoom Super Fluke. What's nice is there's a lot of different size options out there, a lot of different color options. You can size up a little bit and get into the Big Bite bait, jerk minnow. And, dial in your colors, your sizes. It's much more subtle. Has a great swimming action. Here recently, the missile bait collaboration with Hog Farmer, the Spunk Shad. It's kind of like that, right? Subtle trailer. So I think the subtle trailers are gaining a lot of speed, and perhaps the next time you're out fishing and your chatterbait bite is lackluster or you're missing fish and you've made some of the adjustments that we've talked about, if you're throwing the boot foot, go to the crawl. If you're throwing the crawl, go to the boot foot or go to the fish and say, well, before I throw the towel in here, let me go to the Spunk Shad or the Fluke.
It's amazing
Super Fluke.
Amazing the difference that the trailer, when you dial into it, what the trailer does. And that's the absolute amazing part of it. just because the chatterbait may not be catching a lot of fish, you make small changes with trailers. It might just be that. It might just be that type of a change that brings that bite back on. So many times, and I'm guilty of it. I'll pick up something that I have rigged up and I'll throw it out 10 times, 15 times. And I'm like, man, I can't believe you're not eating a chatterbait. And I'll just put it down and go to something else, where I should have probably went to a crawfish trailer, or I should have probably went to, if I was fishing a crawfish, I should have went to a boot foot, or better yet, to one of these real finessey trailers. And I'm guilty of it. I don't change enough. Because you get back to the ramp and you talk to your buddies and they're like, oh yeah, we whacked them on a chatterbait, and it's just like, are you kidding me? And along with that too is colors. I mean, you might be a green, pumpkin, black and blue guy, and just not get into throwing the white and chartreuse as much, or a bluegill, or some of these other things. Just making a color change is also very important, even in the trailer, but also in the chatterbait.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, for me, I kind of break it down. You got to start somewhere. If I'm on a shad forage-based fishery, I'm coming in with shad-colored baits. I'm coming in with white. When I'm on a shad, a lake that's known for gizzard shad, right? When I'm on a lake that's known for gizzard shad, when I'm on a lake that's known for different types of shad, I want to feature the whites and the shad colors heavily, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I'm on a forage base that's heavy on crawfish early season a lot, the black and blues and the green pumpkins with the various color trailers. But when they're eating perch and bluegill, yellow perch and bluegill, green pumpkin and black and blue are also a player, particularly green pumpkin with various trailers on them. So, and bluegill colors, right? And bluegill colors. Put a little orange on it when they're eating perch, whether it's in the trailer, in the skirt, or both. But I think the key element here that we're talking about is, the emergence of these real finessey trailers like the Super Fluke and all its family, the spunk shads, and all their family,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Rhythm wags, eye shads.
Yeah.
That kind of finessey stuff.
Yeah, and that's an evolution of the bait. That's the evolution that we're talking about. The evolution is that you just don't put on a boot foot or a swim on, or the fish style baits anymore. We just don't do. It's not. That's the only thing you do, because I know for years that's all guys would do. They would put on a Zako, and that's it. And that's their trailer, and that's how they would fish a chatterbait. And that's at that time, that's all you really had to do, because it was new. It was something the fish didn't really see a lot of. So, but now these fish are getting smart, man. They're seeing a lot of different baits, and they're introducing a lot of these trailers to still get bites on the chatterbait through evolution of the bait.
Well, I mean, I think the chatterbait is designed to carry the trailer. I think the trailer is the most important aspect of the chatterbait. I'm telling you right now, if you're fishing a boot foot, I'm going to give you an example. You're fishing a boot foot trailer. You're getting short strikes. You're changing colors. You're changing retrieves from a steady retrieve to a yo-yo, what have you, and you're catching one, missing two or three. You need to change trailers is what you need to change.
Very important.
You need to change to a crawl style trailer. That's my transition, right?
Or a boot foot. I mean, depending on.
Well, we started with the boot foot.
Oh yeah, crawfish.
So in this scenario, we started with the boot foot.
Okay.
So I'm going to change to the crawl style trailer, right? And I'm going to go through the progression again. Usually that's enough, but particularly up here in the Northeast, you know, our waters are small, our fishing pressure is intense, and
We have to go to that
changing to option number 3 or 4, such as going to the fishtail, which is very popular, going even more subtle to the super fluke or the, you know,
spunk shed,
the spunk shed style bait. Very important part of your chatterbaiting. Let's not get bogged down on weighted chatterbaits. Let's not get bogged down on colors of chatterbaits. Let's focus on the trailer. You remember when the chatterbait first came out?
Yeah.
What was packed in every chatterbait?
Yeah, a little split tail.
A twin tail, split tail, straight tail grub. And then, you know, I mean, forget it. I mean, that was it, man. You were fighting to get them. You were putting that trailer on and you were fishing that thing until there was nothing left. No skirt, no trailer.
Because they didn't see it.
You were putting that right.
Yeah.
Then you started putting grubs on, you know, and then all of a sudden, savvy pros put the Lake Fork tackle fish on, and then it just went.
Yeah.
Well, now it's happening again. Okay, we went from the fish to the swim bait to the craw. And now we are on the cutting edge of the fluke and the spunk shed style baits, of which the missile bait spunk shed is a pretty damn good example.
Oh, yeah. He does well with that.
So, I mean, you know, and this trailer talk's going to come up again because we're going to talk about some alternate spinner baits. I mean, chatterbaits. Freudian slip. You know, I like me some spinner baits.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You know, we were talking about our kind of outline that we wanted to sort of loosely follow, and you know, we're like, man, this just trailer situation needs definition.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we all have our confidence baits. You got to have your confidence that you're going to throw. You're going to throw a certain bait that you're going to start out with. That's your confidence. That's your you know, that's where you're going to see what's going on. And then instead of just putting it down like I've been doing, you know, we need to start going through the progression of these trailers. Now I do pretty well with it, you know, most of the time, you know, changing through some different trailers, but you really got to go through these trailers. And I started to really mess with the colors, and I'm telling you, man, you know, I was out fishing and we weren't getting bit at all on a chatterbait, and I went to a chartreuse and white one, which I never throw. You know, and boom, boom, I start catching a couple of fish. I think I caught 4 or 5 on a bait, maybe 6 on a bait that they weren't even really eating. But I made that change, a little bit of bright chartreuse, nice trailer on there. And remember that, George?
Yeah.
They started biting that thing. And our typical crawfish this time of year, which normally we get them on, it wasn't working.
I mean, that was a color adjustment. And a lot of times,
and a trailer adjustment too. Because they changed the trailer too.
Yeah, but when you radically change color like that, a lot of times that color adjustment is the bomb.
And that was a massive thing from green pumpkin and black and blues, which we normally always get them on. You know, to jumping all the way through to a chartreuse and white, which I never throw.
Well, it's funny that you bring this up because my buddy was just a co-angler down in Tennessee the last 2 days at, was it Chickamauga or whatever it was, in the Costa. Well, anyways, his boaters were throwing chatterbaits, and he's throwing a chatterbait, but he's catching them, and they're not, because he had chartreuse and white with a gold blade, and they were throwing silver blade.
Oh, geez.
It's just,
I've seen that,
you know,
100 times, man. 100 times happen.
Gold blade is
the blade
super important.
Blade color is super important.
The gold blade is super important, and I'll tell you why. The original chatterbait, they made a chartreuse and white with a silver blade. When they brought that chartreuse and white with a gold blade, we were like, oh man. Then in the chatterbait jackhammer, you know, the golden shiner has a gold blade.
Yeah.
but that new dirty white has the gold blade. So the gold blade is a player, right?
A black blade is a player, and a green pumpkin blade is a player.
Oh, those are big time important.
Yeah, but
Those
you're
are
right.
big time important.
The gold blade is a major deal. But
Yeah.
then, how many times did the silver blade kick your ass? You know, it can go both ways,
Well,
and that's the point. Point here is with this stuff is, you know, you got to be able to make changes now more so than you ever did when you're fishing these chatterbaits, just because of the amount of pressure, the amount of people throwing them, the you know, whatever, the change in watercolors. You got to be able to make those changes and do it fluidly without being a bullhead about it. You just got to go ahead and make a change and check it. The freaking chatterbait this time of year, man, it's hard to beat. Very hard to beat if you get the right combination together. And that's what George is talking about here.
Yeah, I mean, that simple little split tail trailer has yielded to swim baits, craws, fish,
yeah,
flukes, spunk shads. I mean, it's crazy how important that trailer is. And we had a little note here about trailers. Like, that's the next level of chatterbait fishing is, and you know what, on a good day,
don't matter.
use what you got the most of.
Yeah.
Right?
It don't matter.
Put a Z-Man on so you don't have to mess with it.
But, you know, that's with anything. You know, a worm or whatever you're throwing, there's days it don't matter.
But on a tough day, you better know how to make adjustments. And I know Mike and I we fish together like all the time, and we're like in the lab. When we're on the boat,
lucky me.
We are on the lab. We are in the lab, and we are figuring stuff out.
We are.
And, you know, we have experienced this numerous times. And, you know, the genesis of this conversation was the fluke. And, you know, we've had this experience with a buzzbait.
Mm-hmm.
We've had this experience with something we're going to talk about a little later on tonight. Mm-hmm. And now it's getting press. Mm-hmm. Okay. So enough said on trailers, colors. Nick, you got anything you want to throw in there? You're looking a little jumpy over there.
I had to ask you something.
Did you have a Red Bull or something tonight?
I did.
5-hour energy? Are you stacking? What's going on?
Hey,
you juicing? What's going on over there?
It's draft night. I can't even handle it.
Panthers are on the clock, son.
You got the big blade there. Now you got the stealth blade.
Yeah.
You got all these different sizes.
We're going there, son.
You're going there.
We're going there.
All right, go ahead.
Yep.
All right.
Next up, we're going to draft the stealth blade with our second pick in the ChatterBait draft. Stealth blade says he's taking his talents to Susquehanna Fishing Tackle. So,
what a cool little bait. What a cool little bait.
And we've talked about the stealth blade.
I guarantee you there's 90% of the guys watching this never threw it. Guaranteed.
Little bitty blade, Nick. Let's do it. Now, interestingly enough, folks, these are both 1/2 ounce. The bodies, the heads, the skirts, everything's the same except for the blade. So, you know, for size comparison purposes, am I doing a good job there, Nick? Even the same shape, but this is made out of Lexan. And what I want you to think about, and what Mike wants you to think about, is fishing a 1/4 ounce rattle trap.
Mm-hmm.
This sucker's like reeling in a 1/4 ounce rattle trap.
Very, very cool bait, man.
Real tight.
Real tight.
The other thing you need to know about the stealth blade is this bad boy was designed to carry streamlined trailers.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm around bait fish in clear water and particularly shallow water, particularly a high sun sky, and I'm like, you know what? Don't forget the stealth blade. But I'm putting a little skinny trailer on there, and a boot foot is what I'm going to start with. And I found through heavy-duty experimentation, mostly of picking torn-up baits off the floor of the boat in desperation mode, that the 4-inch swing impact from Kitech and the 2.8-inch rhythm wave from Jackal and any other boot foot swim bait that has that skinny diameter, okay? You can't do the standard like diesel minnow. It's got too much. This blade's too subtle. You can't overpower. Well, you can overpower the blade. That's the problem. You need something, and you need something that swims, kind of like excited. You could even do a downsized Super Fluke Junior or 4-inch jerk minnow. Think that.
Yeah, skinny, small to match the blade.
Sunny, clear water, shallow water, fish on bait, not eating much of anything. More than once, this bait has, changed
the day.
Changed it.
Yeah.
More than once.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a guy, Bob is saying that, is it necessary? Why not just go to a swim jig? It's different. It's totally different. It's a vibration, it's a vibrating bait. It's a totally different. It's just a subtle version of that, but it still vibrates. It's you feel it all the way into your hand, but it's a tight, small vibration as opposed to just a straight jig coming through with the vibration of the tails of the trailer, whatever trailer you're throwing on it. So
I'm sure they'll eat a swim jig on certain days.
Oh, I'm sure they will too.
And when they are eating the swim jig on certain days, the stealth blade's going to stay in the box. But I got news for you.
Yeah.
I've had at least 2 occasions when the stealth blade, one occasion, a particular lipless crankbait held its own with it. But the other occasion, everybody else was a spectator on the boat because that stealth blade was getting it done until they got their stealth blade on.
Yeah.
It does play. Do you need to have a whole box full of stealth blades? No. I carry about 4 of them with me.
Yeah.
Oh, and I do all bait fish colors. Because to me, the stealth blade plays on bait.
And I think there's a lot of guys throwing a stealth blade not talking about it. Honestly. Telling you. This thing, it has its moments. And I've seen it. I've seen it with George, but I've just seen it just change the day. Totally changed the freaking day. And it's that high bluebird sky. You're out there. You're just getting a bite every now and then. And it's like, man, you see the bait. You just know everything's right, but it's that no clouds in the sky, high bluebird after a freaking front or whatever. And all of a sudden, you chuck this thing out there and woof, catch a 4-pounder. And it just starts to happen. And it's like every 10th cast, you start catching these fish on this thing. So it's
amazing. And you got a good point there, Mike. I think it is a secret people don't like to talk about.
I'm telling you, I know it is.
Because every time I come in here, I go down that aisle. Because you got to go down that aisle.
Yeah.
Because it just draws you in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, look at them stealth blades. Guys are selecting that stuff.
Oh, they're buying.
Yeah. Nobody talks about it.
The year the stealth blade came out, it obviously sold great because it was new.
Yeah.
But this year they sold better than any year since they've been out.
Yeah. They kind of
this spring.
Kind of people got them and they were throwing them out and they were like,
not locally, but in other parts of the country.
Yeah. This thing doesn't work. It doesn't even feel like a chatter. It is a subtle chatterbait, man. And it vibrates a lot. And that's a perfect scenario. It's a difference between a 1/2 ounce rattle trap and a 1/4 ounce rattle trap. It's that tight little, buzzing sound where how it is. You're down on a bay somewhere and all you see is 1/2 ounce rattle traps flying everywhere. And you come in with a 1/4 ounce and you're just boating them one after another. And everybody's like, what the hell is this guy doing? It's that little difference and subtle change that you see, not only with rattle traps, but also with
Bryce Young went number 1.
Bryce Young to the Panthers.
That's what Nick Saban does.
Yeah.
He builds quarterbacks.
So that's kind of the deal with the stealth blade. And then they went opposite.
Oh, they did. They went hungry hippo.
They.
You ready for this guy?
I love it, man. Hungry hippo.
We're gonna put the 3D lens on. Bum 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 bum. This is the big trailer carrier. This is like the car carrier that you see on the highway.
Yeah.
With that pickup truck that's like hanging
off the back of it.
And you're like, I gotta get out of this lane, man. This thing right here will carry a pickup truck.
I pulled over already and let them get miles ahead of me before. Because you know that thing was busting off of there and coming off.
This is the car carrier right here. This is the car carrier of ChatterBaits. And, you know, Mike and I have spent some time with both the 3/4 and the 1/2 ounce. And we'll pop a 3/4 out here. The first day of exploratory surgery, we discovered it's all about the trailer.
Yeah.
So if you put and we were fishing swim bait trailers, but you can do this with other trailers.
Yeah.
If you put a like standard size diesel minnow on a
I think
1/2 ounce.
I think we did the 5-inch.
Well, if we
which
did
is
both.
the bigger size.
We did both, but if you put a standard size diesel minnow, or you know, that's what we used. Okay, there's 500 swim baits on a 1/2 ounce. Here's the 1/2. Here's the 3/4. Right. This thing hunts like crazy. I mean, it hunts. The 3/4 ounce hunts even more. But if you put that 5-inch swim bait on there and you go supersize, it gets a lot more
tightens it
rudder
up
in the back, and it takes a lot of that crazy hunting.
Yeah.
I mean, this bad boy right here, this 3/4 ounce with a standard diesel minnow is a hunting machine.
Yeah.
So is the 1/2. And again, any swim bait. We have not done a ton of work with other trailers. We did boot foots and we did craws.
Yeah.
These things really do well with those kind of trailers. I don't think the word finesse and big blade go together.
No. This is a big thumper.
And I'll tell you,
you know,
the big blade for Z-Man
terrible
has been a big flop.
Big terrible sales thing.
But
what happened today, George?
I'll tell you this, the big blade catches fish, and in pressured waters in the spring, the big blade is not getting – most people did not adopt the big blade.
Wasn't the major league guy
Brian Thrift? This is his signature bait.
He whacked like giant ones on that thing.
He caught some real good fish on the big blade yesterday.
Yesterday was,
yep.
Yeah.
So the big blade, Nick, is the opposite.
Yeah.
It's bold.
It is.
It's spicy. You know, it's habanero peppers. Okay, it's not.
Love me some habanero.
You know,
peppers.
it's not like Texas Pete's, man. We're talking. Yeah. What's that real hot one? Insanity. This is an Insanity. This is a Texas Pete's, right? The jackhammer's in between. So I really would encourage you guys to check out the big blade if you fish waters that have grass and primarily are largemouth waters. The big blade, I've tried it a lot for smallmouth, and I've caught a few on the 1/2 ounce. It's not really a player in a river situation.
Yeah.
My opinion. I'm sure somebody's going to come on here and say, you know, here's a 31-pound limit caught on a big blade.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll be the next guy.
I could see like, you know, a fall bite, like late fall when those big shatter moving. I could see possibly having a good day on it, but it's not a big giant player for us.
But spring, spawn season, grass fishery,
yes,
largemouth fishery, be it lake, reservoir, tidal water, I don't really care, especially a body of water that has a little bit bigger bait fish population in it.
It's a triggering device. It definitely is a triggering device.
You need to throw a big blade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pre-spawn and spawning fish over top of those.
But you got to have the right conditions.
And, you know, this is
not a high pressure bluebird turned off bite kind of bait.
You know, they were talking about triggering effects of these fish that were following a lot of these guys swim baits, and Palaniuk, was saying, I've studied this a lot, and speed is everything. And this is a bait that can trigger bites just because it has a crazy hunting action to it. Change of direction is also a thing that triggers bites a lot. So this is one of those things that in shallow water, you can't see the fish spawning, but they're in there somewhere. This thing can come along through there and just trigger that bite also. So that's why it's a great springtime bite.
It's it's a 1/2 and a 3/4. The 3/4, when you're setting up a big profile, the 3/4 carries a big trailer real well. This year's experiment is going to be sizing it up with the Unitoad. That's going to give me that big body, bigger tail. That's going to be my big bite, big blade ChatterBait trailer experimentation for my next trip down to tidal water.
With that big blade, George and Mike, does it carry a lot of lift? What I mean is, you got a 1/2 ounce, we said, in a 3/4.
That's why they don't make a light one.
Yeah.
Okay. So it carries a lot of lift. So
it picks up.
You can bring it through shallower water.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, the 1/2 ounce. I fished the 1/2 ounce in 2 to 4 foot of water, no problem whatsoever. I don't think the 3/4 was such a good choice there because I was snagged a lot. But again, for me, Nick, I carry like 4 or 5 of them. I have shad, white for my shad bodies of water where I'm primarily fishing largemouth. I have, of course, green pumpkin. And then I can adjust my trailers. And I carry some 1/2s. I carry some 3/4. They don't see daylight a lot, but they do this time of the year. I'm a big blade guy. And I don't like a crowded day. But if I'm in a crowded fishery, I'm subject to go opposite of finesse, at least to try. So big blade made the big list, right?
Absolutely. I think it's a player. I think it's definitely a player in their lineup. I don't think they're ever going to get rid of it. It's it's maybe not the one you're going to go to, but again, with the pressure and the amount of people throwing chatterbaits, it's a lot of times just a small, subtle changes that will make it happen. Go into a stealth blade or go into the big mag size and fish in the big blade and a big presentation. So it gives you those options, and that's a big deal, especially in these pressured waters. I was talking to a guy who went down to one of our local fisheries on a Thursday, and he counted 27 boats out fishing.
I love it.
On a Thursday. I talked to another guy that was up fishing. He was a guide of ours, and he was like, man, he said, I went out and I got on this pattern, and I couldn't even run the pattern because there was a boat on every spot that I went to in the middle of the week. This was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Well, the weather was nice. It was 80, 90 degrees.
I'm just saying that this is the kind of pressure now that we're dealing with.
It's on.
So subtle changes with your trailers, subtle changes with your blades.
Well, and water clarity is a big issue. The clearer the water, the more this stuff matters.
Yeah. Dirtier
water, aggressive fish. Reiterating, tie on a jackhammer, put on whatever you want, rock and roll.
The jackhammer is the deal.
That's standard.
Now,
we're making adjustments up and down.
So here's a question for you. Does that mean that you take the regular original chatterbaits and throw them out the window?
Depends on your confidence level in them.
I still have a guy in Jersey that his favorite one is the Gold Blade original.
Nothing wrong with that.
Chartreuse and white. And he fishes a trailer on it. And he's quite a stick.
You remember how many fish we caught on the original ChatterBait?
Yeah.
You think they stopped eating it?
Yeah. So I'm saying to you guys who are like, look at these things, $15.99 all the way up to $19.99. You see jackhammers priced all over the place. Here at sfttackle.com and Susquehanna Fishing Tackle, we're at $15.99, and which is expensive for a ChatterBait, especially when you look at its older brother, the one that's been around forever, at $5.99, right, George?
I believe so.
Yeah, at $5.99, and it's gonna do, it's gonna catch fish for you. And like this guy I was telling you about, he's a hammer, he's a stick, he catches fish. He's played on the big stage, and he likes that original ChatterBait. He likes it's different, doesn't do, it's like in betweener. It's a tweener, sound wise, flash wise.
Yeah,
it's a tweener, and he likes it for that, for whatever reasons.
I
haven't thrown one in.
There's
since the jackhammer came out.
There's 3 or 4 more Z-Man lines of ChatterBait that we're not even talking about tonight.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
They're all different vibration levels. They're all different feels.
There's a great, fantastic video on their website that you got to go see. And they run through, it's on the Z-Man website, and they run through every bait, and they do the sound thing with it, the difference in sound on all their baits. So you look at them like, oh, why do they need all these if they have the jackhammer, which is the number one, Well, that's because there's absolutely a different sound in every single one of them, and they prove it to you, and they've designed them that way, to the alloys, different alloys on the blades and different alloys in the heads to get different sounds out of them. And they are dead serious about it. So much so that they had stuck somebody underwater for hours to get these recordings. And it's just a great video. They talk, not a lot of talking, but they let you hear the difference, and you can absolutely hear it. So the little subtle,
great video,
the little subtle differences that George and I are talking about here is the reason why they've done the subtle differences in sound.
It's a great video.
It's the same thing with trailers, and it's more so with trailers now than ever before because of the amount of pressure that's out there. So that's kind of the point with this. Everybody knows how to throw a ChatterBait. We're not going to talk about retrieves and all that kind of stuff and that kind of thing, but it's the subtle things. It's the things that you can do different. Nick's buddy throwing a gold blade compared to this guy in the front of the boat that had a silver blade. He's whacking him. The guy in front of the boat didn't have a gold blade, and he was stuck out to dry. So little small subtle changes will make a big difference for you, especially when it comes to the ChatterBait.
And what's really cool too about the ChatterBait, I know we all like to throw a jig too. And you can throw a jig all year long by changing little things here and there. The ChatterBait's right there.
Oh yeah.
And that's what's cool about all these different options. I mean, you can literally fish it all year long.
You're crazy not to have a ChatterBait tied on and in your rod locker 24/7, 365. Just like you're crazy not to have a Carolina rig tied on 24/7, 365. You just tie them on and you always have them there because, first of all, Carolina rig's a pain in the ass to tie when you're out in the water and you were thinking about it and you're like, oh man, now I got to stop and think about it. No, you have these things tied up and they're ready to go. The other thing is, these are baits you're going to throw all the time. You're going to throw them all the time. And that's a great point. We fish them in real cold water. Well, I wouldn't say winter water, but we fish them in the fall and we, do the yo-yo retrieve, we fish them in the spring with more of a steady retrieve, and we just work them different ways at different times of the year. Sometimes you burn them and that's a whole nother thing, but trailer is really what it's all about. And then mixing in some of these blades. Now, there is another one.
Oh, there's more than one.
There's another one that we need to talk about.
There's way more than one, but as far as our conversation of advanced ChatterBaits is concerned,
yes,
we're going to now talk about our last ChatterBait and how it plays, and that's the Mini Max.
That's a very unique name, Mini Max, and they didn't go mini because it's not a finessey bait. It's a finesse.
Oh, it's finessey. The blade is real soft.
It's finesse, but it's got power in it also. It's got the power in the hook. It's got the power in the whole bait is just very
See
powerful.
that hook size difference there, Nick. This is like 2 to 3 sizes bigger than this. So Mini Max is 1/4, 3/8, and 1/2. Very subtle. The blade is smaller, obviously. Same shape. But very, very subtle. As a matter of fact, a lot of times when you're reeling the Mini Max in, you got to kind of pull your rod to feel the vibration.
Is that because you were fishing the wrong trailer?
No. There is wrong trailers for this.
Big time.
There is wrong trailers for this. So
yeah.
Jumping up to the trailer, it's really important that you fish the Mini with very similar trailers that you're going to fish on the Stealth. Smaller diameter, smaller profile swim baits. Again, going back to, the Swing Impact 4-inch, the 2.8 rhythm wave. I've had good success with the little Z-Man minnows, which is a 3-inch.
The new Yamamoto came out with a 3-inch version.
Baby Zako.
Baby Zako. That's phenomenal for that.
Now, I haven't thrown it yet, but we're salivating.
Oh yeah,
we're salivating.
It's going to be right for that.
Another one we did extremely well with. Whoops, wrong one. And because you got to have that crawl option. Is the
it's got to be small though. That's a big factor with that.
Baby goat.
Yeah, you got to have that small.
Baby goat.
I noticed that if the trailer pulls too hard and thumps too hard, it takes the life out of that bait.
That was a great crawl option. The other crawl option that I had good success with,
that's phenomenal on that thing,
was the Baby Rage Crawl. So you want to kind of follow the guidelines of the Stealth blade.
I think that's going to be dynamite in the post spawn when all the fry are around and you have the small shad fry and the small fry. I think it's going to be, for me, it's going to be a game.
I like it. I like it. I like it when the bite's tough. You know what? You could probably interchange this for Stealth blade or Stealth blade for this. I'm not totally wrote the book on that one yet.
Oh, the stealth blade though, your trailer is bigger. It's longer.
A little bit, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a bigger present. This is, to me, is that small little fry imitator. It's definitely, for me, it's going to be that post spawn. When the fries start coming around, that middle of June to middle of July, I think is where you're really going to see this thing. It's
also great on a gizzard shad lake in September, or as I like to call it, Sucktember, when there's about 3 spawns of gizzard shad and there's 50 billion gizzard shad out there.
Yeah.
That's when you're Stealth blade Mini Max.
You remember
let's see who's playing here.
You guys remember the 1/8 ounce rattle trap?
Never fished it.
Little freaking thing like this.
I do remember it.
Well, I attempted to catch big giant largemouth on that thing one time because all they would hit, I would get bites on it like crazy, but I couldn't land them because it had these little bitty hooks on it. And if you put a next size up hook on it, it wouldn't vibrate. It was so small. I'm telling you, it was like this. But these fish were so keyed in on these little bitty fry. And it was a championship tournament for our club, which is bigger than the Bassmasters Classic. Just telling you straight up. That's how serious I was about this. And they were busting, they were doing this, they were doing that, and they just, you know what I mean? They were so on that we had to go to that 1/8 ounce rattle trap. Well, this would do that. This would be that bait for that type of situation, where you can go to a small little. I love the fact that he brought out that baby goat because that thing's perfect for
that worked really well on there.
Perfect for that.
We did well with that on there, and you can alternate the orientation of the legs. Not that that's a big difference maker, but it could be.
Versatility. Well, you know what? That mini max. So I had 3 people on my boat this spring that never caught fish on a chatterbait before. No confidence. Could care less if they threw it. The mini max with the baby Zaco, every one of them caught fish with it. So
yeah,
it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it was
cool.
Hey, it gave them confidence, made them happy.
Yeah.
I like it.
So you've got guys asking about different brands, and there is lots of different brands out there. And they all have their place. But the reason that we talking about the jackhammer is because they have the patented design of the blade attachment to the head. Now the slobber knocker is the closest thing, I would say the closest thing to it as far as design, but I haven't fished it yet. I did fish crickets. The cricket is a more subtler bait, but in my mind, you had to fish it faster to get the proper vibration out of it. But it's a little bit subtler than the jackhammer. So they catch fish. They all catch fish, and there's a time and place for all that stuff. Would you agree with that, George?
Yeah, I mean,
even though you don't throw any of that stuff,
right? I'm trying to, like, I carry. I guess what I'm saying is my confidence level and where I go for my chatterbaits is Z-Man.
Yeah,
but I fish all of these. I fish all of these for the reasons that we have gone over today. I've thrown the other ones. They're not for me. Too much complication in my tackle box is not good for me. I just get like, I'm not going to pick that bait up. I'm going to try it. I'm going to put it back in there, and I'm not going to pick up because I've caught so many fish on these baits. So, and I'm not saying anything negative about the other baits, but, Mike brought it up. So, I mean, I got to answer honestly. That's where I'm at with it.
Well, I mean, they obviously work. I mean, the guys are throwing them and they're catching fish on them, and it's all in what you got confidence in. I think I threw the cricket, a lot, not a lot, but I threw it enough to fish it different ways and tried it different ways. That's what's nice about fishing with Corbin. He's the guy that as soon as it comes out, he grabs half a dozen of them, and then he always is like, hey, let's just try the cricket. And he makes you do it. And I love that about him. So, that's why I fish with him a lot, is because he makes me fish stuff that I wouldn't necessarily fish. So I fish the cricket a lot, and it's a great bait, but it's definitely different than the jackhammer. It has a different sound to it, and it definitely vibrates at a different level. And, we caught fish on it. It wasn't, but my confidence level the whole time was I was thinking about the jackhammer. Yeah. That's just because we've had so many great days with it, and that's just how we started with it, and that I think that's pretty important with what George said.
So, guys, the last thing I want to touch on here for just a hot minute, and full disclosure, this is something that Mike and I did several years ago and have kind of gotten away from. And it refers to a tough bite situation. Now we've addressed that with numerous other options, probably why we haven't gone back to this other one, but it was good. And I think it's going to play again for me this year because when I'm writing my notes here, I remember stuff that, I forgot.
Yeah.
I'm old. What do you expect? Naked ChatterBaits. And You know what we used to put on them back in the day? A boot foot swim bait and a super fluke.
Mm-hmm.
And we fished them on a tough day when we were getting our
asses handed to us.
And our feelings were being hurt. And, actually...
that happens every now and again.
Actually, our friends at Picasso were selling one called the Naked shock blade.
Yeah.
And that's what we had.
Yep.
And we got them out of the box and we put the trailers on and we started catching fish. And, Mike and I, a couple of years ago in the spring, we had an epic run on jackhammers. I mean, we just caught fish. It was so spectacular. And they literally ate the skirts off the bait. I mean, there was like 4 strands left.
Yeah.
And after one particular day, there was like 4 of these things laying on the floor of the boat. And I was cleaning the boat up back in my garage. The paint was knocked off the blades. The hooks were bent.
That was epic.
The skirts were missing. And I was just getting ready to throw them in the trash. And I said, wait a minute. Naked. So I just want to throw it out there. You can repurpose a beat up bait. You can strip the skirt off of one you're not fishing. But when you get a tough day, and to me, this played more in the summer, get naked.
Mm-hmm. That's a great tip, George.
Yeah. It happened. It happened for us a couple times, but we kind of got away from it because, we like shiny ththings, and the new shiny things came out. And we had to have that, and then we had to have stealth.
That happens to everybody.
We had to have mini max.
You make the move on, and
me and him love experimenting with baits.
Now imagine with the pressure that we're getting, going back to that thing,
it's time to get
around
naked
with some stuff. Hey, hun, get naked. I'm coming home.
And the other thing in advanced chatterbait fishing, and this is going to be the last tidbit I think we should touch on tonight.
Touch on it, George.
Retrieves. For the most part, we tend to wind them. But I like to lobby for the yo-yo. I would like to lobby for the yo-yo. In grass, in current, on hardcover, I would like to lobby for the yo-yo. I do a lot more yo-yoing than what the technique's intended for. Now, if it doesn't work, I go back to winding, but I don't think there's a day I ever fish a chatterbait that I don't spend a fair amount of time yo-yoing. So I had a note here, I want to talk about slow rolling, and I had a note on the slow roll. Get yourself 1 or 2 3/4 ounce for 8 to 10 foot deep grass. Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, George, back to that yo-yoing. Have you found what conditions have worked the best for you with the yo-yoing?
Dirty water or thick grass? Thicker grass, clump grass, not matted grass, clumpy grass like coontail, milfoil, where I can actually, some cases I like it where I can drop it in a hole, bring it up over a head, let it fall back down again. But I really like it in dirtier water. I know Mike's with me on this. Really like it in dirtier water. And interestingly enough, more often than not, the cross style trailer plays. FYI.
Yeah, I agree with that. I almost call what I do with it a swim. Like a swim where I pick it up and I swim it. Kind of pick it up, let it come and swim it. Not so much a yo-yo like you would think up and down like this. It's more of a kind of a pick it up and then click, 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 click. Make sure you get the blade movement on the fall, so it's kind of controlled with your reel and your rod tip a little bit. So when you pick it up, you're reeling down, but you're pulling enough that it's not just dropping, it's coming down on a swim. You know what I'm saying? And you get that.
So you're kind of following the contour of the.
Well, I'm following the not really. I'm picking it up and getting the brrr, and then and that's, to me, is the deal. And then getting that thing to be able to do that controlled. It's a controlled swim / yo-yo. It's not like, but it's more of a, and then with the blade. And I'm making those sounds because that's, in my mind, that's what I'm trying to get it to do. But it's like when you pick it up, you got it, when it's falling, you're reeling to just get the blade to click like that. And then it's getting that click out of it. And it's weird, but that's what I'm after. I don't want this to go blip, boom, as much. I like what I call.
I guess the last thing I would add to the yo-yo is we like numbers. We like to define things, right? So 5 or 6 feet or less, 3/8, 5 or 6 feet or more, 1/2 ounce. And that's not hard and fast, but that's a good guideline. Add in wind and current, go to the half right away.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Don't be afraid of that 1/2 ounce.
All right, Mike. Let's put this bad boy to bed.
Yep.
We got the draft.
We went pretty long with the draft going on, so.
Well, we are team players, if nothing else.
Yeah, we did
when
go pretty long.
When we come in once a week, we come in to play.
We do.
We don't weigh in early. We don't wet track.
We push it right to the end.
You ain't going to see no wet tracks coming out of our parking spot, right? You know what wet tracking is,
We always hang late, man.
Nick, you know what wet tracking is?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
That's when you quit early and your trailer's still dripping by the time you get home.
I think I just did that this weekend.
Well, you know what?
Well, you had a frustrating weekend.
Yeah.
That was that, and that's worthy of a wet track, honestly. But
don't sugarcoat it, Mike.
No, that's worthy of us.
Weigh-ins of 3. That's what time you get back to the ramp.
George's boat broke down.
You ever hear of a trolling motor?
He fished his way all the way back.
Beautiful. He didn't wet track.
Wet tracking is when you're pissed off so bad that you take the boat out of the water and you're boom gone.
I was that guy.
And your water line is going and it's not even going into the parking lot. It's going out onto the road and you're out of here, man. You're like gone. That's called wet tracking.
The worst wet tracking I ever did was I drove home from the Potomac without putting my tie-dines on my boat.
That was a bad one.
I wanted to kill my co-angler.
Yeah.
Hey, Umberto, if you're listening, I ain't forgot your name, dog. I wanted to
calling you out, Umberto.
Me and you are going to cross paths again,
You know how many times I've heard this story? I'm telling you, dude, if he ever sees you again.
I swear to God, I got to Lithica, Maryland before I put my freaking straps on. Shit was moving back there. The old Skeeter was bopping.
It's pretty bad when he remembers his
name. It was bad.
Bro, when I cashed the check, one. I'm like, pay me, I'm out.
It was a bad day on the water. It doesn't happen often, but you remember the ones that they are.
I don't know how many hundreds of draw tournaments I fished. I have 99.99% friends to this day. All except for you, Umberto. Hey, Umberto.
Yeah.
If I ever draw you again, you ain't getting in the boat, son. Maybe he went and got treatment. I don't know. He needed shots and pills, I can tell you that much, from doctors that are trained.
All right, that's enough of that.
By the way, don't drive halfway home from the Potomac without putting the straps on your boat. It's somewhat dangerous.
All right, everybody. Here's your chance to get off the live. Go to sfttackle.com and check everything out that we talked about tonight. Do some research on your products that you have in your boat and that you think you might need. Pick up some of them. But also think about SummerSlam 2023. This is going to be a massive tournament. It's going to be fun as anything you ever did before. And if you're one of those guys that maybe don't want to do tournament fishing because you're worried about just giving money up, you get to keep your tackle. Everybody wins at Bass at the SummerSlam 2023 from sfttackle.com and Susquehanna Fishing Tackle. That's what it's all about. Everybody's a winner. You can go ahead and get signed up right away. They are limited us to 100 boats. We're going to sneak a couple extra in, but just so you don't have to worry, just go ahead and sign up for it.
I'll tell you something, folks. The forecast is dismal for tomorrow and Saturday.
Yeah.
And for all of you who always said, man, I'd like to make a road trip to see the boys.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? The boys are going to be in the house tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Saturday.
And Saturday.
Skeeter Steve will be here.
Tomorrow and Saturday.
The Stallion will be here on Saturday.
Yeah.
We're hoping to see Mikey Pools.
Yep.
And guess what?
Yep.
Come on out.
Absolutely.
Come on out. Whoever drives the farthest distance to the shop tomorrow and Saturday will get 15% off their total purchase. Buy everything you want to buy.
How are you going to do that?
Huh?
How are you going to do that?
I'm just going to know.
Somebody's going to come in at 8 o'clock in the morning and they're going to say, oh, I drove four hours.
I'm going to say, well, let me go out and look at your truck.
Well, I mean, how do you know that at 6 o'clock somebody didn't drive 6 hours?
I got a lie detector.
No, I'm just saying, if you give the guy 15%
driver's
on
license
his purchase. Yeah, but if somebody at 6 o'clock, no.
What if so what you're saying is, if a train leaves the station at 6 o'clock, traveling west at 49.8 miles an hour.
George, you're really making yourself look stupid here. You really are.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Well, he was trying. He's
trying
no.
If a guy comes at 9 o'clock in the morning and he's from Massachusetts, right?
He's getting a discount.
And he buys whatever, and George gives him the 15% discount. But then at 6 o'clock at night, somebody took him a while longer because he was further away, comes in from Maine.
He's getting a discount and a hat.
He should have drove a little faster.
I mean,
you know how hard it is.
And everybody in between.
Hey,
so
the guy from Massachusetts should get a discount, a hat, and
it's not about, I trust everybody telling me what their address is. It's not about that. It's about how do you know which guy during that day went the furthest? So you can't make those things.
We're going to work it out.
We're going to give something special to the guys, anybody that travels a long distance. Doesn't matter. I thought maybe
1,000 miles or more.
Who's that fella? He just was on here from Utah. He was just on here.
He started on his way.
Well, you remember let me see if I got him here. Hang on.
Utah, you need to get in here, Joe.
Right here. Keith Carney. I think he's
offline. He just started driving.
He's from Iowa. I don't think it was him. I think it was somebody
Joe
else.
was in today from Utah.
Yeah.
And he drove.
Yeah, he did.
It's a long way to drive for shad darts, but that's what my man was interested in.
Yeah.
Plus, he's OG.
He is OG.
All right, wrap this up, boys. We're starting to get.
We're getting
rambling.
We're getting rambly.
We're rambling.
All right, guys.
Try to put a bow on this and make us look like superstars.
Thank you so much for stopping by. Another great edition of Tackle Shop Live, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
I met you on a sunny day. Right there, you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day, you called me up. You told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile when I think of you. If I am down low and I am blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy. I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine.
Stopping in tomorrow.
I can't get enough. All soaked in sweat, weird chills running down my neck.
Yeah, it's too
I'm going crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair and your beautiful smile. Your sense of humor makes it all worthwhile. Don't make me wait, it's not a funny game. You know just what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile.